So hello everyone, we are back again with our latest video on SQL tutorial Abikacho by Abikacho Groups. So today's agenda is like we are going to discuss import and export data in SQL Server using SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. So basically today we will check how we can import or export the data from SQL Server Management Studio itself, and we don't need to use like SSIS and all for these activities. So this is a very useful functionality of Management Studio. So let's quickly trigger the Management Studio and check how this particular is working. Okay. So basically we used to load data from multiple sources into our databases CSV files, Excel sheet, database to database transfer, and that these small functionalities we can perform from SSMS itself. So what you need to do, first of all, go to the database. So our database Abikacho, currently we don't have any table here. Okay. So now we will load some data using the flat file that we have already created. So we have one flat file with us, which is employee data. This is a text file. So we have some employee data here, like employee ID, employee name, and department name, and few of the records I have also mentioned. So this particular data we will go and load into our database using the SQL Server Management tool. So what you need to do, just first right click on the database and then go to tasks. Okay, then after task, go down and go to import data. So we have here like import flat file, import data, export data, copy data. So these activities also we can perform. So first of all we will discuss the import data, and then we will discuss import flat file, and these and after that we will discuss the export data functionality also. The copy data activity is basically used for means transferring data from one server to another server. So this we will perform later on in a separate video. Okay. So now then, after right clicking, go to task, and then after go to import data. Okay, so this particular wizard will come as a pop-up. So now what this wizard is telling, like this wizard helps you to create simple packages that import and export data between many popular data formats, including databases, spreadsheets, and text file. Okay, so it is clear, like it is used for means importing or exporting data from databases to, or spreadsheets or text files. This wizard can also create the destination database and the table into which the data is inserted. So you can see like automatically it will create a table or also itself for the data which we will load, and also it can create the database, but we will check currently as we have the database currently. So we will check how it is creating the table for us at the database. So now first of all you need to select the source. So it is mentioned like data source. So here you can see multiple sources are there like .NET Framework, Data Provider, ODBC, and Flat File Source, Microsoft Excel, and you can also check we have like SQL Server native client. So from database to database transfer also we can do here. So currently we are going to load the data from a text file. So we will choose our source as flat file source. Okay, and after selecting this you need to provide the file name. Now browse for the file name. So employee data, this is our file which we need to load, and then okay. Now what we have, press next. Okay, now you can preview the data also here. So as our file contains comma separated data, so here column delimited is comma. Okay, and you can see the data is coming fine. Now we can load this, so press next. Okay, now destination you need to mention here. So what is our destination? So our destination is database itself. So we can go and check for SQL Server native client. Okay, and now our server name we need to mention. So currently we have only single server, which is the local server. So local is selected by itself, and if you need to select any other another server, then you can click on the drop down and check from here. Okay, and then what is the authentication mode? So currently we are using Windows authentication, so we will click on Windows authentication, and you can also use the SQL Server authentication mode also. Okay, now select for the database where you want to load the data. So currently we want to load our data in the Abikacho database, which is our own database. Okay, now press next. You can also choose other databases by clicking on the drop down, and you can find like other databases are also coming. So any one of them you can choose, but currently we are going to load the data in Abikacho. Okay, now press next. After this you can see here that table and views. So this is our source data location it is providing, and this is our destination, which is the local server, and the table name it has created as employee data. So this is fine, I think. Or employees table we can mention here, employees table. So you can rewrite the name also of the table that is created, that is going to be created, and also you can use the default name also. So employees table we can mention here. Now from here you can edit the mapping of the columns also, like which column is going to where. So source column are employee ID, employee name, department name, and destination is employee ID, employee name, and department name. So column mapping is proper for us here. Okay, and now click OK. Then we have the preview. We can preview the data also. So data is going to be loaded in this particular format, so which is fine for us. Now close this and go to next. So after this, here we get two options like run immediately or save SSIS package. So using this, you can create one SSIS package also if you need the data to be loaded on regular basis. So you can create a SSIS package and also trigger that from here, or you can run immediately. So currently we are going to run immediately. So tick on run immediately and uncheck this one, save SSIS package, and then press next. So next, what is detail we are getting? We are getting the destination and source detail. So destination location is local and destination provider, this is our server name, and then copy row from this particular location employees data text file to database employee table. Okay, so here you can check the check your source and destination also if they are proper. So currently it's proper. Now we are going to press the finish. So once you finish, see the data is getting loaded and three rows we have, so three rows transferred. Okay, now close this. Then you can refresh the table and then you can check employees table we have created. Now select top 1000 rows. So what we are getting? Okay, so we are getting our records as required. Okay, so all the records are loaded here. So similarly, you can transfer the data from other sources also. Now we have transferred from Excel, transferred from the text file. Now we will use one Excel file also to load our data. So now I'm going to create one new Excel file, Microsoft Excel, and keep it as department table, department department table. So here we will mention the name of our file like department table and put some data into that. So we can put like department ID, and one column like department name also we will mention, department name. Okay, now we are going to load the Excel file. Some records I will mention here. Department ID 1 mechanical, department 2 as software we can mention software, and department 3 will be our electrical, department 3 will be our electrical department. Okay, so I think this much data is fine. Now save, control S, save this data, and now go to SQL Server Management Studio and try to insert this particular record in our database. Now again do the same, right click on database, now go to task, now go to import data, and then we have the wizard open. Now press next. Now choose the data source. So currently our data source is Microsoft Excel. So we will check for Microsoft Excel. Now Excel file path. So browse the Excel file path. So department ID we have selected. Now press OK. So now what it is telling, like Excel we have multiple versions also. So if you need to select other version, like you have loaded your file in other versions, so you can select from here also. Okay, but currently we will check for the default. Now first row has column name, that is fine. Okay, now press next. So see here what error we are getting, like SQL Server import and export wizard. The operation could not be completed. Additional, the Microsoft ADBC OLEDB 12.0 provider is not registered on the local machine. So this particular provider is not registered with us, like ACE OLEDB 12.0. So I think what we need to do now, so we can change the version of our Microsoft Excel because this is the latest version, so we are not able to load, so we can change it to some other version. Okay, so let's change it to Excel 97 2003. Okay, now cancel this particular task first, go and change the Excel version that we have created. Okay, so simply how you can change the version, Now go to file and then save as, and we will select the folder where we want to save. So downloads we will save, and now save as type. So currently it's Excel workbook, so it is an updated version. Now we need to downgrade the version. So from when you click to the drop down, you will get different versions in which you want to save your file. Okay, so either you can save to CSV also and load, or you can save it to Excel 97-2003 workbook. So as we have seen that this workbook has been allowed in our database, means that SQL Server Management Studio is allowing this particular version. So we will save our file in this version, then press save, and now we are going to load that this particular version of department table in our SQL Server. So we can increase this. You can press here, expand little bit, and then check which version of the Microsoft Excel currently you are using. So Microsoft Excel 97-2003, this we are going to load now. Okay, now go to SQL Server again, and then right click on the database, then task, and then go to import data. Okay, now press next, and then data source will be our Microsoft Excel, and then browse for the file. So department ID is our file, and it has the same version as that of Microsoft Excel 97-2003. Now first row has column names, that is fine. Now press next. Now it is taking that file. Okay, so like this you can resolve the issue also. So we will resolve with the issues in the tutorial itself, so that you will be aware of how you are going to load in the real project. So these particular tasks are basically very important in perspective of means while you are working in your company and all, and you need to load some data, means little amount of data you have, and then load and analyze that particular data. So at that time these tasks, this import data task or export data task is very useful, because for a small purpose you don't you are not going to create a SSIS package and then deploy that. Basically SSIS and all we are using for if we want a regular means what, like import and export of data. So for that purpose we basically create some tasks and then add it to agent jobs and then regulate it from there. Now let's move to the tutorial. Now we have destination. So destination is our SQL Server native client. Okay, so now go down, and it is coming at the end. Okay, SQL Server native client 11.0. Now select that. So same server name is our local, and then we are using a Windows authentication. So click on Windows authentication, and then database. So database is our ABCacho, which is our own database. Okay, and if you want to change, then you can change from here. Now press next. Okay, now what it is giving, so copy data from one or more tables or views, or second option is like write a query to specify the data to transfer. So if you want a certain amount of data to be transferred, then you can write a query also, or otherwise if you want the whole data to be loaded, then you can choose the first option, like copy data from one or more table. So currently we want all the data to be loaded, so we are selecting the first option, like copy data from one or more tables or views. Now press next. Okay, then here we have sheet 1. So our sheet 1 contains the data. So source is the sheet 1, and then destination is local, and here we can rename our table. So it has provided a default name like sheet 1, but we don't want that. So we want the name to be department table. Okay, now rewrite the name, and then check the mapping, column mapping. So column mapping is fine. Department ID is going to department ID, department name going to department name. This one is float and this one is envarchar. That is fine. Press OK. Now preview your data. So data is coming fine. The data will be loaded like this, department ID and department name. So this is fine for us. Okay. Now press OK. Now then next. So now here also you get the two options, run immediately or save SSIS package. So we are going to run immediately. Now press next. Okay, then you can see here source location. Source location is this one, Excel file department table. That is fine. Source provider Microsoft Z OLEDB 4.0. Destination location local. Destination provider this server name. Okay, now copy row from sheet 1 to this particular table, department table. Okay, this is fine for us. You can see here. Okay, now press finish. So the data is getting loaded and 3 rows transferred. Okay, now close this, and then go to the database and tables, then refresh the tables, and here you will get the department table also loaded. Now press select top 1000 records. So now we are getting the data as expected. Okay, So this is how we will import data from multiple sources to database. Now we can check how we can export the data. Okay, so that is also very simple. For exporting the data, also go to the database. Now right click, tasks, and then from task we will go to export data. Okay, so export data, again the wizard is coming. So what it is telling, this wizard helps you to create simple packages that import and export data between many popular data formats including database, spreadsheets, and text files. This wizard can also create the destination table and the destination database and the table into which the data is inserted. So the same wizard has been opened. Now currently just the difference is our source is our database and destination is a flat file. First we will transfer to flat file, then we will check the other options. Okay, so now data source, currently our data source is our SQL Server native client. So you can go down and select for SQL Server native client. Okay, and then server name is local. If you want to change, you can press through the drop down and change it to a different server also. Then authentication mode is our Windows authentication currently we are using, so check on Windows authentication. And if you are using SQL Server authentication, then you can click here and give the username and password. Now our database is Avicacho, which is our own database. So here we have the table. So destination department table we are going to transfer to a flat file. Okay, now press next. Now here our destination is flat file. So we will go and check flat file destination. Okay, now file name you need to mention here. So browse for the file name and go to the location and then provide one file also. You can provide, create one new file, text document. So department data, department data. Okay, now check this particular file and then file name is coming. Now open. Okay, then it has taken the file name like C user, this and department data. Okay, then local English, all of them we will keep as default. So format will be delimited. So we have multiple formats like delimited, fixed width, and raised right. So this is a concept in itself, so we will discuss this in a later video. Sometime I will made a create sometime I will create a separate video for this one. Means this is a also very good concept to know. Okay, so now the text qualifier is none currently here, and now column name in the first row, first data row, that is fine, that we want. Now keep all the things as default. Now press next. Then copy data from one or more table or views, or you can write the query also. So this time we are going to write a query. Okay, now click on write a query. Now press next. So here you need to write a query. So you can write like select star from department department table. Okay, now you can parse your query also if this query is written correct or not. So it is showing like the SQL statement is valid. Okay, now we will proceed. So this will check only for the validation of the query if the written query is correct or wrong. This has no impact on the data, means loading and all. If you have written a correct query, then it will provide you a correct record. And if you will write like select from, if I am writing select from department table, I will remove the star. Then if you parse, then it is telling you that the statement could not be parsed. Okay, so the statement is wrong, it is telling like that. Okay, so press OK and then put the star here and then move forward. Now press next. Okay, so source query. So there is a query. Currently our source is the query, and then row delimited, column delimited, comma separated value we want. Edit mapping. You can go to edit mapping and check like source department ID. We'll go to department ID destination, department name going to department name. That is fine for us. Okay, now press OK. Okay, now preview the data how it is going. So this particular data is going to be loaded like this. Now press OK. Now then press next. Okay, so run immediately, we will choose the run immediate option as we are not going to create a SSIS package for this. Now we will show you how you can use this particular when we are going to create the SSIS tutorial separately. Okay, now press next. So all the tutorials are on the way, my friends, so don't worry about that. Means SSIS tutorial, Azure tutorial, everything is coming. Okay, now press next. So be with us and like, share, and subscribe our channel so that you will be aware of that which video is coming when, and you can find more and more benefit from our channel. Now here the source location is the local. Currently we are transferring from our database to the to the text file. Now source provider is this our server name. Okay. Now copy row from the query to this particular location, department data. Okay, the new rows will be appended to the existing table. Okay, that we want the data to be appended. Okay, not overwritten. We want to append the data. Now finish this. Okay, now the data has been loaded. Now close this and go to the destination, and we will check department data currently. So we have our data loaded here, department ID, department name, and then the records. Okay. So this is how we can export data from SQL Server Management Studio to any flat file or Excel file or any data source or any data destination. Okay. Okay. Now we will go and check the last option that we have, like import from flat file, and then we will end up this video. Now go to the task and then import data from flat file. Okay, so press this option. So this option, what it is telling, like the wizard will help you import the content of a file into a new table in your database, okay, this will help to load the file from means any source to flat file source to new table in the database. Okay, to import data you must specify input file containing the data and then preview the automatically generated table schema and optionally modify the column. So it will means automatically generate the table schema and the table name, and you can modify the columns at the time of loading also, so that it is telling. Now go and check. Now press next. So then what we have, specify the input file. So location of the file to be imported, so we will import the department. We can check this file only, department data file we can take. Okay, we will load this file with a new name. Okay, now open this. Now new table name will be department data underscore table 2 we can mention. So here you can also modify your table names and schema also. From here you can modify. So currently we will use the DBO schema, so keep it as default. Okay, because currently we only have the DBO schema. So for schema and all concept, we will create a separate video for this also. So this will be also very useful concept to know, and in interviews also people will ask about what is the database schema and all these kind of. So basically database schema is nothing but it is means it is the storage of the metadata of the means database. Okay, all the metadata related to the table name, column names, and what are the database objects you have. So these metadata are stored into your schema. For that particular schema, what are the database objects we have, so that is stored in the schema. Okay, now then press next. So preview data coming, so the data is coming fine, like database, like department ID, department name, we have both the columns, so both columns we want, and the data is coming like fine. Okay, now press next. What it is telling, use rich data type detection may provide a closer type fit, however cell with anomalous values may be dropped. Okay, okay, so we will discuss this later only. Now press next. Modify column. So from here you can modify the column also. The data type we can keep it as integer. We can modify from here. So all of the data types it is providing, and instead of n varchar we can keep like varchar 50 we can keep. So varchar 50 where it is. So varchar 50 we can keep. Okay. And now mark this particular department ID as a primary key column. This also you can define from here. And if it will allow null or not, so this also you can mention here. So both the columns have the value. So we don't want null value to be inserted. Okay. Null value to be loaded in these particular columns. Okay. Now move to next. Then we have the summary. What is coming? Import information. Name this. This is the name of our system. Now database name abcacho. Okay, that is fine. Table name. Table name will be department data tables. That is fine. Now file input imported from. File is importing from this department data text file. Okay. Now press finish. Okay, inserted data. So successfully. Result is successful. Now press on successful. The following task completed successfully. Insert data. Okay. So our task is successful. Now close this and go and check to the database. Refresh the tables, and so here we have our table created, department data tables. Now press top 1000 record. So we are getting the data as expected. Okay. So I think this is clear to everyone how to import data or export data from database using SQL Server Management Studio. Okay. Now, thank you for being with us, my friends, and many more videos are on the way. So, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And if you need any means suggestion from our end or any help from our end, then comment us. And shortly, we will provide a master series on SQL Server also. So you can comment us like how excited you are for that particular course and all. And for online trainings, you can contact to our number that is provided to us. This is our organization number, and they will contact to us if needed. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.